about to head up to the presser we got going on.
And how's the weight cut?
Man, not bad. I don't really cut that much, so I'm just going through the motions really at this point.
Okay, so this is not hard for you.
Yeah, not at all.
And you against Yair Rodriguez, I think everyone is talking about the entire card being amazing. But of all the fights, that's the one I think I'm looking forward to the most. I think you against Yair is an amazing fight.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. He's got a lot of hype on him, young up-and-comer, and his style is pretty exciting, pretty flashy. So I'm definitely excited for it too.
Yeah, how do you combat a guy like that? I mean, without giving away a game plan, but a guy who throws have you fought anybody that threw as many different weapons? Because it kind of reminds me in a way of the way you fight, where you're completely unpredictable and you do everything.
Yeah, and I don't think I have fought someone maybe quite like him. I've definitely fought the best though. I felt like the highest level guys, but his style is something that's new, and he's brought in guys that could kind of mimic it as best they can. So I'm not seeing it for the first time on Saturday.
Now, the hype behind him, is that what's motivating you? Because I remember, your whole journey, Frankie, and I remember when you were, I was actually in the same locker room when you fought Sean Shirk, and I remember people like amazed, oh my God, look at this. This guy's, he just beat the former champ, and then from there, obviously, you went on a tear and had legendary fights and made yourself like pound for pound legend in the sport. But now this guy's, the young kid's trying to make a name more for you. How does that, is it the hype that motivates you? What motivates you for it?
The fight itself motivates me. I don't want to lose to anybody, whether they have hype or not. And that definitely keeps me on my toes. But the fact that everyone's kind of saying this guy's the next guy, it definitely adds to that a little bit.
Well, how do you feel he's going to be on the ground against you? Is one of the things you want to do? Do you want to try to take him on the ground?
I try to take everybody on the ground. I'll tell everybody my game plan. I'm going to throw a bunch of punches, and if the takedown's there, I'm going to look for it. I'm going to try to hit you on the ground, and if the submission's there, I'm going to look for that too. That's just always what I do. And I think that's something that I'm going to test his ground game a little bit if I can get him there.
And Jimmy, we were saying, like you were saying before, Jimmy, well, how if Frankie fought anybody like Yair, am I saying his name decent?
Yair. Yeah.
Yair. I'm saying, has Yair fought anybody like Frankie? Frankie's
Right.
got a hard guy to get ready. Who fights like Frankie Edgar? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Besides Frankie Edgar.
Absolutely.
So
I'll tell you who fights like Frankie Edgar, and I've used this comparison before. Jędrzejczyk reminds me of you because of the variety and the speed and the never getting tired. Yeah. That's the fighter who reminds me of you the most.
She doesn't go for takedowns much, but
maybe just the variety of.
That's a compliment, man. That's definitely a compliment though to me, man. She's one of the best strikers I think in this game. Period. And she definitely brings the heat too.
Yeah, but if I watch you fight, it's really hard to tell if it's the first round or the fourth round as far as what your output is.
Or the fifth round,
yeah.
It don't matter.
It really is difficult to tell what your what round it is.
Or if anything, he gets stronger as it gets on. Fucking little Rocky.
Is there anything to? Do you keep something? Is there anything to keeping something in the tank, or is that a myth said by people, or are there times where you'll reserve something because you're not going to go two or three more rounds?
But I kind of let the tempo to fight, do what I do. If the guy's coming at me, I'm gonna respond. If I feel like he's fading a little bit, I'll turn it up. But you don't want to blow your load either, and you got to respond.
Hey, what do you? I mean, Yair's last fight was against BJ Penn, and again, that's not necessarily a true test for either of those guys in the sense that BJ had been off for so long. He may be better in this next fight, and Yair might not be as effective as he looked in that fight. So, what did you think when you saw that fight, and what do you think of BJ against Dennis Siver?
Yeah, that fight is really tough to take anything from. BJ came off a long layoff, and he is kind of moving along in his career a little bit. But I think this next fight with Dennis Siver is a little better fight for him. I think he's coming off a long layoff himself, and they're kind of maybe around the same age. So that's a fight that I think BJ can be more competitive in.
Now, when you fight, like you talked about, like the fight is what motivates you, but you have more time in the octagon fighting than anybody in history. So when you're fighting a guy who's younger, and again, he has nowhere near the amount of time of active fighting that you do you approach this differently than you would a veteran? Like I'm gonna try to get him into the later rounds, or I'm gonna do something a little bit different than you would if he was a veteran and had more of the same experience you do?
That's just tough to say, really. I don't want to put anybody in the later rounds. I don't know if having the most time in the octagon is a good thing necessarily, but I'm definitely going to try to utilize the experience when I can. Be strategic when I can. But that stuff all has to present itself, within the fight. And, definitely use that savviness of being a veteran is always a plus.
And do you think a win against Yair puts you back in contention for another shot at the title?
I think it does. I think the outcome of Holloway and Aldo really matters on what's next for me if I'm able to get it done on, when I get it done on the 13th. But, if Aldo wins, it'd be tough to kind of match us up right away again. But Holloway, and if he gets it done, me and him definitely makes sense down the road.
Yeah, I mean, you are ranked number 2, so there'd be no reason for you not to fight Holloway if he does win. So you're kind of, I guess, hoping that Holloway wins just because the rematch with Aldo, like you said, will be a little harder to do right away.
I mean, I don't want to sit there and root for one guy or the other. I'll let them figure it out. And, you can't control things that are, that I can't really have a play in. So we'll see what happens. If Holloway wins, I'd love to jump all over that fight.
And let me ask you, how does it feel to be on the same card as your teammate and buddy, Eddie Alvarez? Is that a good thing?
Yeah, we just talked to Eddie, yeah.
Yeah, we just talked to Eddie earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. This is our third time we're fighting on the same card or weekend at least. And it's motivating. During the camp, you're tired. You look across the room, you see him kind of grinding away. You're like, all right, man, we're kind of both in this for the same reason. Training for the same date and the same outcome. So it's motivating. Plus, you got the squad down here. It makes it more fun.
Mark Henry is with you, and Ricardo Almeida.
Yeah, Mark and Ricardo are down, and my boy Chris Ligori too.
Of course, Chris Ligori, the New Jersey legend.
That's it, man.
He's a good dude, man. Well, hey, man, listen.
I want to ask you, sorry to interrupt you. You did a little ringside commentating. Did you like that?
Yeah, I did. It was, I think it was like 10 fights, and I believe 8 of them finished in the first round, so that was kind of good.
Yeah,
make the workload a little less. But I just need more reps, I think. The more reps I get, I think I can do a better job. But, just got to get in there more often.
What was the hard? Because I have not heard the fights you've done, but what was the hardest part of commentating? Was it knowing when to say something, or like, I got to figure out something, or what was it for you?
I think just keeping up with every fight. It's not like I'm commentating the UFC where I'm a little more familiar with the guys. The guys I'm not, I wasn't too familiar with them. Some of them are not even from the U.S., so that was probably the toughest thing, just kind of getting my knowledge up on the fighters that were fighting that night.
Would you get a one sheet on them, or would you do a little research and go and watch their fights? Or would you just read up on them, Wikipedia? Yeah,
I did a little bit of Wikipedia. They sent me some fight footage, just try to, study as much as I can. But, really, you're just talking about fights, and that's what I do, in my living room on most Saturdays anyway.
Yeah, when you don't go to the fights, you just sit home and you get them and you watch them.
Yeah, for the most part I do, I'm not really out partying much these days. So, yeah, fight nights are always welcome in the house. Oh,
does your wife ever get sick of it and go, like, enough of fighting and let's just watch something else?
Oh, she's in bed, man. Those fights are too late. She's in bed usually.
Oh, okay, so you're up by yourself watching.
Yeah, myself. I have some buddies over sometimes, but yeah. My son always says he wants to stay up, and he crashes on the couch at like 10 o'clock.
How old is he?
My middle one is 7.
Now, do they show any interest in fighting any of your kids or training at all?
He's got them wrestling.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, they wrestle. Both of them wrestle. My middle one's more of the goer. He definitely tells me he was driving to somewhere the other day. He said he wants to be a scientist and a fighter. So I was like, all right, man.
Hey, Neil deGrasse Tyson. Neil deGrasse Tyson was a heavyweight wrestler, and now he's an astrophysicist.
I didn't know he was a wrestler.
Yeah, so, hey, that's not a bad gig right there.
Yeah, Neil deGrasse Tyson is not. He's got huge arms. Like, he's a big armed guy. He's a heavyweight guy, and his wingspan when his arms open, he's a giant guy. And I realize
he is a big dude.
He is, right? Have you been around him?
No, I mean, I've seen the pictures of him in college, or I guess when he was wrestling in college. The dude was a monster.
I did something with, it was him, it was JB Smoove has that show on the MSG network. I don't know if I've talked about this before, where it was me, him, a comedian named Todd Barry, Gilbert Godfrey, Jerry Cooney, and Neil deGrasse Tyson. And there was a lot of us eating this dinner, and they film it. And it was funny to watch, because usually the boxer or the fighter is the most interesting guy at the table, because you want to hear about their wars. But in that case, it was Neil deGrasse Tyson, because he can talk about the moon and the sun. And watching a scientist kind of out-alpha a boxer without being aggressive was interesting. And I always thought that's because he's a wrestler. He's comfortable around guys like you, guys who are combative or physical.
I think he'd take Jerry Clooney right down.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Jerry Clooney taught me how to throw a punch.
I mean, that guy's just one of the smartest guys in the world, man. I think he could probably throw his weight around anywhere. The fact that he wrestled too, for sure, helps.
Yeah, but just to watch it happen, because I've been around a bunch of different types of people, and the boxer is all, especially a guy like Jerry Cooney, who's a good talker.
Yeah.
Jerry's a great talker, and he likes to chat, even though he's, wears a sweater vest. I would prefer he didn't. But he taught me how to throw a punch. It was really humiliating because I'm so bad at it. Like, I really do. I don't throw a punch like a man.
No?
No, I kind of curl my fist up, and I just kind of hurl it and hope it
You
hits.
keep your thumb tucked in with your fingers.
Aren't you supposed to?
Don't do that.
Yeah.
Why? You can break your thumb?
Something can happen. Yeah.
Oh, all right. All right, Frankie, we're just fucking talking shit.
All right.
We're tired.
Yeah.
Listen, always good talking to you, man. This fight again is the one on the 13th, this Saturday in Dallas that I'm looking forward to the most. It's Frankie Edgar against Yair Rodriguez.
Hell of a card, man.
A tremendous
Hell
card.
of a card.
And that's how good that card is. That your fight is second on that card. That's a tremendous, isn't it? It's second, right?
No,
Second
I
up.
think the second fight on the main card. Yeah, it's definitely a stacked card. I've been fortunate to be on some big cards, 200, 205, and now 211. So yeah, I'm excited for it.
Yeah. I mean, they
too.
love you, man. It's always a great fight. It's never a boring fight with you.
No such thing as a boring Frankie Edgar fight.